The massive frame of TSS Hyperion stretched endlessly against the black void of space, its metallic hull gleaming under the distant sunlight. The orbital shipyards of Luna Base buzzed with activity as the final preparations were made for humanity's greatest achievement, a warship that would carry Earth's hopes and fears into the unknown. At 15 kilometers in length, the Hyperion dwarfed everything humanity had built before. Its hull was covered in layers of advanced armor, dotted with weapon emplacements that could unleash devastation at ranges measured in light minutes. But it wasn't just a weapon. It was a statement to the cosmos that humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Captain Hannah Park walked through the gleaming corridors of her new command, her footsteps echoing in the pristine hallways. After 20 years in the Space Force, this was the pinnacle of her career. The crew she passed snapped to attention, their faces showing a mixture of pride and nervousness. They all knew what was at stake. The bridge was a marvel of human engineering. Holographic displays filled the air with streams of data, while the curved viewport offered a panoramic view of lunar surface below. Commander Dai Kim stood at his station, his usually calm face showing hints of excitement as he ran through the final checks. Engineering reports all systems are green, called out Lieutenant Yu from her station. Reactor output stable at 95% capacity. Weapon systems online and calibrated, reported Weapons Officer Nam. All defense grids responding normally. Hannah settled into the captain's chair, feeling its contours adjust to her form. This was the moment they had trained for. Years of simulations, months of preparation, all leading to this day. She opened a channel to the entire ship. "This is your captain speaking." Her voice rang through every compartment. "Today we take humanity's first real step into the galaxy. Each of you was chosen because you're the best at what you do. Together, we carry not just the hopes of Earth, but its survival." Commander Kim approached her chair with a tablet. "Final checklist is complete, Captain. We're ready for departure." Hannah nodded, studying the readiness reports one last time. The Hyperion's quantum drive was a revolutionary design, capable of bending space in ways that would have seemed impossible just a decade ago. If it worked as designed, they would be able to reach Alpha Centauri in days instead of years. "Control, this is Hyperion Actual." She spoke into the comm, requesting clearance for departure. "Hyperion, this is Control. You are cleared for departure. Good hunting." The massive docking clamps began to retract, their movement visible through the viewport. Gentle vibrations ran through the ship as its own systems took over from the station's support. "Maneuvering thrusters at station keeping," reported Navigator Lee. "Drift is nominal." "Begin departure sequence," Hannah ordered. "Take us out nice and easy." The Hyperion moved with surprising grace for something of its size. Thrusters fired in carefully calculated sequences, easing the massive vessel away from its birthplace. The lunar surface fell away below them as they climbed to their departure vector. "All stations report ready for quantum drive activation," Commander Kim announced. "Course plotted for deep space testing grounds." Hannah felt a moment of pride as she looked at her crew. They were making history, and they knew it. Humanity had built warships before, but nothing like this. The Hyperion wasn't just a defensive measure. It was a declaration to the galaxy that humanity wouldn't be found helpless if they weren't alone. "Begin quantum drive startup sequence," she ordered. "Let's see what this ship can really do." The ship's massive engines began to hum, building up power for their first real test. On screens around the bridge, energy readings climbed steadily as the quantum field began to form. Years of theoretical work and countless simulations were about to be put to the test. "Quantum field stabilizing," reported Engineer Song. "Power flow nominal. We're ready for transition on your mark." Hannah took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would prove whether humanity's greatest technological leap would succeed or fail. She could feel the tension on the bridge, see it in the rigid postures of her crew. "Execute quantum jump," she commanded. The stars blurred around them as space itself bent to the Hyperion's will. Humanity's greatest warship slipped into quantum space, carrying with it the dreams and determination of an entire species. They had built this ship because they hoped they weren't alone in the universe, but also because they feared what they might find out there. What they didn't know was that they were already being watched. In the darkness between the stars, other eyes had seen the Hyperion's departure. Humanity's first step into the cosmic arena had not gone unnoticed, and their massive warship had just changed the galaxy's plans for Earth forever. Lieutenant Jin Song stared at her sensor displays with growing concern. The Hyperion had been running standard patrol patterns for 3 months, testing its systems and training the crew. But now, something was different. The quantum sensors were picking up strange energy patterns that made her skin crawl. "Captain," she called out, double-checking her readings. "I'm detecting unusual distortions at the edge of our range. They're moving in patterns that don't match any known space phenomena." Captain Park moved from her command chair to look over Jin's shoulder. The holographic display showed rippling waves of energy, too organized to be natural. They pulsed with a rhythm that suggested intelligence. "How long have these been present?" Park asked, her voice low and steady. "They appeared about 10 minutes ago," Jin replied. "At first I thought it was sensor ghost, but the patterns are too consistent. Whatever this is, it's real." Commander Kim joined them at the sensor station, his face serious as he studied the readings. Could it be some kind of cloaking technology? Before Jin could answer, new alerts flashed across her screen. Multiple contacts had just appeared at the edge of their scanning range. They were small compared to the Hyperion, perhaps no longer than a few hundred meters each. "Captain." Jin's fingers flew across her controls. Multiple vessels just appeared at bearing 045 Mark 12. They're running. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the mysterious ships scattered like startled fish, their energy signatures spreading out in all directions. Captain Park straightened up, her face set in a determined expression. "Sound general quarters," she ordered, "but maintain our current course. Let's not show them we're spooked." Red alert klaxons blared throughout the massive ship. Crew members rushed to their battle stations as armor plates slid into place over the viewport. Weapons Officer Nam reported that all defense systems were online and tracking the unknown contacts. "Getting better sensor reads now," Jin reported. "Their hull configurations don't match anything in our database. These are definitely not human ships." Captain Park returned to her command chair, outwardly calm despite the historic moment unfolding around them. "Keep tracking them. Start recording everything. Earth needs to know we're not alone out here." The mysterious vessels continued their retreat, but they didn't completely disappear. They maintained their distance, just at the edge of the Hyperion's impressive sensor range. It was clear they were studying the human ship just as much as they were being studied. "They're using some kind of advanced propulsion system," Engineer Song reported from her station. "The energy readings are off the charts, but they're contained somehow. It's technology way beyond anything we have." Commander Kim pulled up a tactical display. "They're moving to surround us, Captain. Keeping their distance, but they're definitely trying to box us in." "Let them try," Captain Park said with a slight smile. "The Hyperion was built for exactly this kind of situation. Send a standard greeting package on all frequencies. Let's see if they want to talk." Communications Officer Lee began broadcasting the carefully prepared first contact messages that had been designed by Earth's best linguists and scientists. The bridge crew waited tensely for any response. Hours passed as the strange dance continued. The alien vessels maintained their distance, neither approaching nor fully retreating. Their presence was like an itch that couldn't be scratched, always just at the edge of awareness. "Captain," Jin called out suddenly. "The energy patterns are changing. I think they're trying to communicate." The main view screen filled with waves of complex energy patterns. They pulsed and shifted in ways that seemed almost musical, but carried information densities that made the ship's computers strain to analyze them. "They're probing us," Engineer Song announced. "Very subtle, but they're using some kind of scanning technology. They're trying to figure out what we are. Captain Park stood up, her voice carrying across the bridge. Well, let's give them something to think about. Mr. Nam, power up the main gun arrays. Don't target anything. Just let them see what we're capable of. The Hyperion's massive weapon systems hummed to life, sending ripples of energy through space that even the most primitive sensors could detect. The reaction from the alien vessels was immediate. They pulled back even further, their own energy signatures fluctuating in what might have been surprise or alarm. They're definitely paying attention now, Commander Kim observed with a grim smile. Good, Captain Park nodded. Earth built this ship because we knew this day would come. Let them see that humanity came prepared. Send another greeting package. Let's show them we can be friendly too. The tension on the bridge was electric as humanity faced its first contact with an alien civilization. The Hyperion floated in space, its massive bulk both a warning and an invitation. Whether this encounter would lead to peace or conflict remained to be seen, but one thing was certain. Humanity's first step into the galactic community had just become a giant leap. The tension aboard the Hyperion had grown nearly unbearable during the two-day standoff. Crew members worked their shifts with one eye constantly on the sensor readings, watching the alien vessels that lurked at the edge of their detection range. Then, without warning, everything changed. Captain to the bridge. Commander Kim's voice rang through the ship's comm system. They're making their move. Captain Park arrived to find her bridge crew tracking a single vessel that had broken away from the alien formation. It approached slowly, broadcasting an entirely new type of signal on all frequencies. Analysis suggests it's some kind of diplomatic protocol, Communications Officer Lee reported. They're using variations of our own greeting messages as a base. They're learning. The alien ship was beautiful in a strange way, all curved lines and shimmering surfaces that seemed to shift colors as it moved. It was smaller than the Hyperion, perhaps only a kilometer in length, but it moved with incredible grace. They're requesting permission to dock, Lee announced, surprise evident in his voice. They're using our own docking protocols. They'd been studying us very carefully. Captain Park straightened her uniform. Grant them permission. Alert security teams, but keep weapons powered down. Let's not start humanity's first diplomatic meeting with drawn guns. The alien vessel docked with practiced ease, connecting to one of the Hyperion's massive shuttle bays. Security feeds showed a delegation emerging from their ship. Tall, slender beings with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer in the bay's lighting. The meeting room had been prepared according to every first contact protocol Earth had developed. Captain Park waited with a small team of senior officers, their hearts pounding as the door slid open to reveal their visitors. The alien leader introduced itself as First Observer Todd of the Wren Collective. Its voice came through their universal translators with an oddly musical quality. We must admit, your vessel has caused quite a stir among our people. The Hyperion was built to protect Earth, Captain Park replied carefully. We hoped we weren't alone in the universe, but we couldn't be certain what we'd find. Ta moved with fluid grace as it studied the humans. Your species confounds us. No other race has ever constructed a vessel of such magnitude as their first interstellar ship. Most begin with small explorers, research vessels. You built a warship larger than some of our space stations. We built the Hyperion because we knew we weren't alone, Park responded. We hoped for peace but prepared for war. The alien's skin rippled in what might have been amusement. Interesting. Most species we encounter either come in peace or come for war. You seem to have prepared for both. Commander Kim stepped forward. If you've been watching us, you know we're not aggressors. But we won't be helpless if we meet hostile forces. Yes, we have been watching, Tai admitted. Your broadcasts have reached far into space. We've seen your stories, your dreams, your fears. You imagine both wonderful and terrible things waiting among the stars. The meeting continued for hours as both sides carefully shared information. The Wren, it turned out, were part of a larger community of spacefaring races. They served as observers and diplomats, making first contact with emerging civilizations. But you, Ta said, its skin shifting to a deeper silver. You have broken all our models of first contact. The Hyperion changes everything. Some of our allies are concerned. Captain Park felt a chill at those words. Concerned enough to take action against us. No, Tai assured them quickly. But your ship's capabilities suggest technological advancement far beyond what we expected. Your quantum drive alone. Some of our scientists believe it shouldn't be possible at your level of development. We had good motivation to advance quickly, Park explained. Our history is full of stories about more advanced civilizations encountering less advanced ones. Those stories rarely end well for the less advanced group. Tay's skin rippled again. So you built this ship as a deterrent. Fascinating. But tell me, Captain Park, now that you know you're not alone, what do you plan to do with such a powerful vessel? The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. The answer would shape humanity's relationship with the galactic community. Captain Park chose her words carefully, knowing the weight of history rested on this moment. The Hyperion will do what it was always meant to do, she said firmly. Protect Earth and represent humanity's interests among the stars. We come seeking friendship, but we come as equals, not supplicants. The alien's skin shifted to a bright, almost glowing silver. Then perhaps your species' unique approach will prove more valuable than anyone expected. There are things happening in the galaxy that might require new perspectives. The massive council station of the stellar Concordat loomed ahead of the Hyperion, its spiral structure resembling a giant seashell floating in space. Captain Park stood on her bridge, watching as smaller alien vessels darted around the station like busy insects around a hive. Director Han adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform, his expression tense. Remember, Captain, this session could determine humanity's place in galactic society. The Concordat has already labeled us as a potential threat. Hard not to when we show up with a 15-kilometer warship, Commander Kim muttered from his station. The Hyperion's approach to the station drew obvious attention. Other ships moved aside, giving the human vessel a wide berth. Its size dwarfed even the largest alien vessels present, making their caution understandable. Receiving docking instructions, Lieutenant Lee announced. They want us to anchor at the outer rings. Apparently, we're too large for the standard diplomatic berths. Director Han nodded grimly. The Concordat fears what they don't understand. Our military capability threatens their established order. Having the Hyperion looming over their council chamber won't help ease those fears. Captain Park watched as automated guidance systems helped position their massive ship. Maybe they need to be afraid. The galaxy clearly isn't as peaceful as they pretend, or they wouldn't maintain their own war fleets. The diplomatic party assembled in the Hyperion's shuttle bay. Captain Park had selected a small team of officers to accompany her and Director Han to the council session. As they boarded the shuttle, she noticed the nervous energy among her crew. The journey to the council chamber revealed the true diversity of the stellar Concordat. Aliens of various shapes and sizes moved through the station's corridors. Some walked on multiple legs, others floated, and a few seemed to phase through solid matter. First Observer Ta met them at the chamber entrance. The council is unsettled, it warned them. Your ship has disrupted many assumptions about emerging species. Some members see it as a violation of natural development. Natural development. Director Han raised an eyebrow. We developed the Hyperion naturally, through our own efforts and innovation. That's part of what frightens them, Tai explained. No species has ever advanced so quickly in military technology without outside help. They suspect other influences. The council chamber itself was a vast amphitheater, with representatives from dozens of species arranged in tiered seating. The human delegation stood in the center, feeling the weight of countless alien eyes upon them. High Speaker Vel, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline structure, addressed them first. The human vessel Hyperion represents an unprecedented situation. Its very existence challenges our understanding of technological progression. Director Han stepped forward. Humanity built the Hyperion because we understood a fundamental truth. The universe is not always kind to newcomers. We chose to be prepared. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A reptilian counselor rose. Prepared for what? Your species' first act upon achieving interstellar travel was to build a weapon of unprecedented scale. How should we interpret such actions? Captain Park spoke up, her voice clear and firm. The Hyperion is not just a weapon. It's a shield, an explorer, and a statement that humanity will not be easily conquered or dismissed. The debate grew heated as various council members argued about the implications of human technology. Some called for restrictions on Earth's space development. Others suggested quarantine measures. But then alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed as new messages poured in from the outer territories. Captain Park watched as fear spread across alien faces of all kinds. Emergency report from the outer rim, a council aide announced. Multiple outposts have gone dark. Something is consuming entire systems. The chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had been arguing moments before now huddled together in frightened groups. Her rector hand turned to Captain Park, his face pale. "This is why we built the Hyperion," she said quietly. "We knew that somewhere in the darkness between stars, something waited. Now we'll see if we built it strong enough." The High Speaker called for order, its crystalline form pulsing with urgent light. The debate about the human vessel must be postponed. We face a greater threat. Perhaps the humans' paranoia was more justified than we realized. Captain Park stepped forward again. "The Hyperion stands ready to assist the Concordat. Let us prove that we built this ship not to threaten peace, but to defend it." As the Council scrambled to respond to the emerging crisis, the human delegation exchanged knowing looks. They had prepared for this moment, even if they hadn't known exactly what form the threat would take. Now, humanity's massive warship might be the galaxy's best hope for survival. Alarm signals flashed across the Hyperion's command center as another warning beacon went silent. Captain Park leaned over the tactical display, watching as red dots spread across the map of Concordat space like a growing infection. Commander Kim stood beside her, his face grim as they studied the pattern of destruction. "That's the 12th beacon this week," he said, marking the latest loss on their chart. "Whatever this thing is, it's moving faster than anyone expected." The massive warship had been stationed at the edge of known space, watching as something terrible devoured everything in its path. Concordat ships sent to investigate never returned. Probes disappeared without sending back data. It was as if a hole in reality was slowly expanding, consuming everything it touched. Chief Science Officer Su Li burst into the command center, her tablet displaying streams of complex data. "Captain, I found something. The quantum wake signatures. They're unlike anything we've ever seen." "Show me," Park ordered, clearing space on the main display. Sue's fingers flew across the controls, bringing up detailed sensor readings. "They're not just destroying the beacons and outposts. They're consuming them, breaking down matter at the quantum level and converting it directly into energy." The implications hit everyone in the room like a physical blow. Commander Kim was the first to speak. "That's why we never find debris. There's nothing left to find." "Exactly," Sue confirmed. "Whatever this entity is, it feeds on matter itself. The more it consumes, the stronger it gets, and it's getting stronger very quickly." Captain Park studied the data with growing concern. The Hyperion's advanced sensors were picking up patterns that the Concordat's technology had missed. The destruction wasn't random. It was systematic, almost intelligent. "Look at this," Sue pointed to a particular reading. "The energy conversion is nearly perfect. No waste, no radiation. That's not natural. This is technology we can barely even understand." A new alert sounded as another beacon went dark. This one was closer, much closer than anyone had expected. The entity was accelerating. "Captain," Commander Kim's voice was tight with tension. "At its current speed, it will reach the first populated system in less than a week." Park straightened up, her decision already made. Sound general quarters. Begin charging all weapon systems. The Hyperion was built for this moment, even if we didn't know exactly what we'd be facing. The massive ship hummed to life as power flowed into systems that had never been fully tested. Weapon banks that could reshape reality itself began to warm up. The quantum drive spun to full capacity, ready to take them into battle. Send word to the Concordat, Park ordered. Tell them to evacuate the outer systems. We're going to engage this thing before it reaches civilian populations. Sue looked up from her readings, face pale. Captain, the energy readings we're getting. This entity could consume the Hyperion just as easily as those beacons. Maybe, Park nodded. But we're not going to let that happen. This is what Earth built us for. We knew something was out there in the dark. Now we know what. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency as the Hyperion prepared for battle. Years of training for an unknown threat were about to be put to the test. Humanity's massive warship had been called paranoid, excessive, even dangerous. Now it might be the only thing standing between civilization and annihilation. New contact. Lieutenant Jin's voice cut through the tension. The entity, it's changing course. It's noticed us. On the main screen, a void darker than space itself seemed to move against the star field. It didn't reflect light. It consumed it. Sensors struggled to define its edges as it shifted and flowed like liquid darkness. All hands, battle stations. Captain Park's voice rang through the ship. This is not a drill. Humanity built this ship because we feared what might exist in the darkness between stars. We're about to find out if we built it strong enough. The Hyperion's massive engines flared to life, pushing the enormous vessel toward its destiny. In the command center, Captain Park watched as humanity's greatest achievement prepared to face humanity's greatest nightmare. Weapons at full charge, Commander Kim reported. All systems ready. Then let's introduce ourselves, Park said grimly. It's time to show this thing why humanity built a warship that scared the entire galaxy. The void seemed to pulse, as if acknowledging the challenge. The battle for survival was about to begin, and the fate of countless species would rest on whether humanity's paranoid preparation had been enough. The void between stars rippled as the entity emerged, its massive form defying normal space. The Concordat's defense fleet, impressive by any standard, looked like toys before its endless darkness. Their weapons, powerful enough to shatter planets, simply disappeared into the entity's mass without effect. Captain Park stood on the Hyperion's bridge, watching as alien ships were consumed one by one. Their crews didn't even have time to scream before they were converted into pure energy, feeding the cosmic horror's endless hunger. All ships, fall back, she ordered over the general channel. The Concordat fleet needs to clear the engagement zone. Now. Commander Kim worked at his station, bringing the Hyperion's true weapons online for the first time. Systems that had been hidden, masked as ordinary equipment, began to power up. The massive ship hummed with energies that made reality itself shiver. "Ma'am," Sue Lee called from her science station. "The entity is reacting to our power signature. It's noticed us." The darkness seemed to pause in its consumption of the fleeing Concordat ships. Like a predator sensing a larger threat, it turned its attention to the Hyperion. The void twisted, forming what might have been an eye, or a mouth. "Now they see," Park murmured. "Now they understand why we built her so big." The Hyperion's hull began to glow with strange light as hidden panels opened along its length. What had appeared to be standard weapon emplacements transformed, revealing technology that even the Concordat had never imagined. "Captain," Commander Kim reported, "reality anchors are online. Quantum field generators at full power. The containment systems are ready." Through the quantum comm, the voice of the Concordat high speaker rang with desperation. "Captain Park, what are you doing? Nothing can stop it. Save yourselves while you can." "You're wrong," Park replied calmly. "We can stop it, because we built the Hyperion for exactly this moment." The entity surged forward, its darkness reaching for the human vessel like hungry tendrils. But as it touched the Hyperion's quantum field, something unprecedented happened. The tendrils recoiled. "Full power to the reality anchors," Park ordered. "Begin the containment sequence. Show them what humanity has been preparing for." Beams of impossible light shot from the Hyperion's hidden weapons. They didn't strike the entity. They struck reality itself, creating a cage of stabilized space-time around the cosmic horror. The entity writhed, trying to break free, but found itself trapped by laws of physics it couldn't devour. "By all the stars," breathed an alien observer, "what have you humans built?" Captain Park opened a channel to the Concordat Council, who watched in stunned silence from their supposedly safe distance. "Humanity didn't build the warship," she explained, her voice steady as the Hyperion engaged in battle with a god. "We built an ark and a sword combined." The ship's true purpose revealed itself as layers of armor transformed into vast energy collectors. The entity's attempts to feed were not just blocked. They were redirected, channeled, controlled. "We knew something like this existed," Park continued. "Our scientists detected quantum disturbances decades ago. We knew something was out there, consuming entire star systems. So we built the Hyperion not just to fight it, but to contain it." The entity thrashed in its cage of stabilized space-time, but the Hyperion held firm. Its massive size wasn't about intimidation. It was necessary to house the incredible systems needed to battle a cosmic horror. "The quantum drive," Sully explained to the amazed Concordat scientists, "isn't just for propulsion. It's part of a system designed to match the entity's reality warping abilities. We had to be able to fight it on its own terms." Commander Kim managed a grim smile as the battle continued. "Those weren't just weapon tests we were running these past months. We were calibrating our systems, preparing for this exact moment." The entity made one final, massive attempt to break free. The Hyperion's hull groaned under stresses that shouldn't have been possible in normal space. But the ship held, its purpose finally revealed to a watching galaxy. "All systems holding," Kim reported. "The entity is contained. We can begin the final phase." Captain Park nodded, her face showing the weight of this moment. Humanity's greatest fear was being helpless when we found what lurked between the stars. So we made sure we wouldn't be helpless. We made sure we would be ready. The Hyperion's quantum systems began their final sequence, not to destroy the entity, for that was impossible, but to bind it, to contain it, to ensure it could never threaten another world. 6 months after the battle with the entity, the Hyperion floated in formation with ships from a dozen alien species. What had once been viewed as humanity's potential threat to galactic peace now served as the cornerstone of the Concordat's new defense strategy. Captain Park watched from her bridge as alien vessels practiced complex maneuvers around her massive ship. The sight would have been unthinkable just months ago. Concordat ships willingly approaching the human warship that had once terrified them. "The Ren battle group is ready for the next exercise," Commander Kim reported, standing beside a tall, silvery alien tactical officer. "They've adapted well to the quantum field protocols." The bridge itself had changed. Alien technology now complemented human systems, while Concordat observers studied every aspect of the Hyperion's operations. Where there had once been suspicion, there was now eager cooperation. "Begin the containment drill," Park ordered. "Let's see if they remember what we taught them." The alien ships moved with growing confidence, forming patterns that mimicked the Hyperion's historic battle with the entity. Their weapons, modified with human quantum technology, created smaller but effective containment fields. They learned quickly, Sully noted from her science station, where she worked alongside a floating crystalline being from the Concordat Science Division. "The modified systems are performing better than expected." The Concordat had changed its view of humanity dramatically. The species they had feared as too aggressive, too paranoid, was now seen as prescient. Human military doctrine, once criticized as unnecessarily defensive, became the foundation for a new galactic defense strategy. Analysis of the entity's remains has confirmed your species' early predictions, High Speaker Vel admitted during a recent council session. There are more of them out there, dormant but waiting. Humanity's preparation may have saved us all. The Hyperion itself had become a symbol of hope rather than fear. Its massive frame, once seen as an overreach of military might, now represented security for countless worlds. Ships of all species moved freely in its shadow, knowing it stood ready to protect them. Captain Park stood at her viewport, watching as another training exercise began. Alien crews who had once fled from the Hyperion now worked seamlessly alongside her own people. Commander Kim coordinated joint operations with a natural ease that bridged species and cultures. The Concordat ships have completed the new weapon installations, Kim reported. All core worlds will have quantum defense systems within the month. And the new construction projects? Park asked, though she already knew the answer. The massive shipyards around Earth were busy day and night. The first 3 ships of the Defender class are ahead of schedule, smaller than the Hyperion, but carrying the same quantum containment systems. The Concordat is providing resources to build more. Throughout the galaxy, the story of the Hyperion spread like wildfire. The massive human warship that had frightened so many had become a symbol of salvation. Children of a dozen species now played with toys modeled after it, dreaming of serving aboard humanity's greatest achievement. Perhaps, Park mused, watching the combined fleet exercises through the viewport. This is what we were always meant to be. Not conquerors or victims, but protectors. Commander Kim nodded, understanding the weight of her words. The galaxy feared us because we came prepared for the worst. Now they thank us for the same reason. The Hyperion's shadow stretched across space, but it no longer brought fear. Instead, it carried hope. Hope for a defended galaxy. Hope for cooperation between species. Hope that the darkness between stars could be held at bay. As alien ships danced around her massive vessel, Captain Park felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humanity had built the Hyperion expecting to stand alone against the horrors of space. Instead, they had found their true purpose, teaching others to stand with them. The massive warship that had once sparked panic in the Concordat now led a united front against the darkness. Its story became legend among the stars, marking the day when humanity's fearsome reputation transformed into something greater, a promise that no species would ever face the horrors of space alone. And in the vast shipyards of Earth, more defenders took shape, each one carrying the legacy of the Hyperion, humanity's gift to a grateful galaxy.